Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome. Happy Sunday afternoon, May 23rd on our 31 days of Zen as we continue on. It's been quite a busy month so far, but there's lots of Zen in there for me, and I sure hope there is for you. There's content every single day, and it's been a lot of fun. So far, these Sundays have been filled with some very special guests. And it's been interesting to dive into these different topics. We started off the month with Yo and Virginia, and I've noticed that some of you have already been in contact with her or supporting her on her journey on YouTube, and she's got some really amazing content as well as experience. So keep showing her some support. And there's Shay saying hello. Hello,
hey,
hello. Shay. Lovely to have you aboard. So as we continue on, we've got Jenn live with us today. And we're going to be finding out what it's like to be the Truth Of series. And Derek is here too. Hello, welcome. As we dive into a little bit more about who is Jenn. She's, as far as I'm concerned, and so many of you as well, I think she's truly the YouTube fitness sweetheart. So I think you'll really enjoy spending some time with her as we have a very casual chat this afternoon. Here in Canada, it's a holiday weekend, so we are having an extended long weekend. We are off tomorrow for many people, although we're still in lockdown, so we're pretty limited to what we're doing. So I thought it was really gracious of you, Jenn, to be here with us today on a long weekend, long holiday weekend.
Of course. Sue, thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. I mean, anyone that knows my channel knows I'm a huge fan of Sue. Sue's on like every one of my live streams that I do because I just love her so much. Also, I want to do a big shout out for you, Sue. Just like 31 days of Zen. That's, as any YouTuber knows, that is very challenging to do daily content. And I think at a time, especially here, like Sue said, in Toronto and Canada, we're still in lockdown and have been since, I don't know, I think November pretty much. So I think everyone can say it's amazing that you have an initiative like that, just because I know a lot of people are feeling really burnt out, and just having access to such great content like that is amazing. So thanks for doing that.
My pleasure. And if you have been watching, like I said, Sundays, we've got special guests we've had through the month. We've got one more to go. And I am bringing you 3 practices a week, live practices. So we've had a lot of fun, a lot of different drop-ins throughout all of those. One week has been yoga, Pilates, yoga. We're back to Pilates this upcoming week. And then I have 3 videos. 2 of them are a little bit more info on the week, the subject matter of the week. This week we've got some interesting stuff. I'm working with some props. I talked about them the last time we did Pilates, but this time we're actually going to put them to use. So that was one of the requests that I had, and I thought it was a great one. And we are continuing on with the Chinese body organ clock, and that's had a lot of positive feedback as well. Seems many of you are enjoying that, so we're going to continue on with that, and then ending up the month with a yoga Pilates practice where I infuse the 2 together. So anyway, that's what's happening in 31 days of Zen.
That all sounds amazing, Sue, all of it.
And you're right, it is. It's quite an interesting journey to take that on, but it's all fun. It's really good, and then it's giving you an opportunity to get to know some of you much better, which is really so valuable in continuing to build this journey and this community as well. So let's dive in a little bit deeper now, turning things over to Jenn in just a moment, as Jenn is, I would first a yogi and then a YouTube yogi. So I would like to know, I'm sure that many of you would like to know just how what brought Jenn to yoga in the first place, and what was that like? So maybe if you can kind of tell us a little bit about how you got to the mat and what that experience has been like for you.
Yeah, of course. And actually, I'll just say, I didn't get to say hey to Derek. So, hey, Derek and Paul, I see you're on here. And Alicia, I love that you said we look like rays of sunshine. We kind of do because our hair is kind of matching, right? And Chris is on here too. So, it's really great to see everyone. So, thanks for being here. I think I said Shay too, but Shay, if I didn't say it, then now I'm saying it. So, hey. So my yoga journey. So honestly, I wish I had a better story, but I don't. My story kind of goes like this. So when I was kind of finishing school, honestly, I was really struggling to sort of do anything movement wise. It wasn't something that in my family, like people weren't overly active or anything like that. It wasn't really a priority in my house. Part of my family, I have some family in Switzerland, so they're a bit more active. But here in Canada, nobody was active, so that wasn't something that was built into my habits. And so one of my friends just told me I also really struggled with anxiety. I was very much in my head. I overthought everything. And one of my friends just was like, hot yoga was kind of the new thing at the time. And they said, hey, you should, go check it out. Like, I love it. I know a lot of other people that love it, and maybe you might like it too. And so when I moved back home after school, as I was starting my new job, I thought, hey, it'd be a great time to try and, build some healthy habits again for the 10th time that I've been trying to do it. And so I just joined this local yoga studio. It still exists today, actually. It's called Hot Yoga Markham. It was in Markham. You lived closer to Markham than I now in Toronto, so a little bit farther for those that are sort of, in and around the Toronto area or kind of know what Markham is. And yeah, it was just this like beautiful little studio. I went in the first day, and it was this cute little studio. There was only one studio in there. So I know some of the newer studios tend to have 3 or 4 rooms in there so that they can have multiple classes. This was just a cute little studio. And I don't know, it was so welcoming. And the first thing that I noticed was after my first class it was the only thing that got me to turn my brain off. So I'd always been an overthinker, overthought everything, very cautious, very thoughtful, all that. And it was the only thing that could get me to shut my anxiety off. So for the full hour, I remember coming out of it and I got that, that Zen feeling. And I was just like, whoa, what is this? What is this? This is so challenging. And I just felt so calm after. And yeah, it got me hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has that effect on so many people, which I think is, as a yoga teacher, I've found is what really keeps you going and really gets you excited all over again. Because as people discover the practice and get that sense of peace and that buzz, that yoga buzz that follows a practice, I find that it's like you're reliving it.
Totally. I also find, and I don't know if you find this, but I find the magic for me with yoga as well is that I could try a pose today and I could try it again and again every single day, but I'll notice different things about the pose while I do it. So, maybe the first time, so like I find this a lot when you're learning you've got a teacher who's teaching you, and they use these cues. And sometimes you're like, I don't know what they're saying. What do they mean? I need to broaden my back in downward dog. Like, I don't even understand what that means. And then, maybe 2 years later, after you've done so many downward dogs, you're like, oh, that's what that means. I feel it now. I get it. And it's just.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the questions, I had a Q&A this week video, and that was one of the questions that sometimes people ask is, how do I know if I'm doing it right? And that's the thing. The more you come back to the mat, the more you practice a particular pose, you develop more awareness within your body. Your mind-body connection continues to develop, and then all of a sudden, those clues totally make sense because you're just more aware. You're more into your body, and that's part of just broadening your horizons when it comes to your yoga practice.
100%. Well, I think when you're starting yoga, people say listen to your body, but you don't know what that is because, if you're not practicing yoga, you don't have a meditation practice, or you don't have something that's helping you build that internal awareness. And you're like, what do you mean I got to move my toes? Like, that makes no sense because I don't actually know how to do that, and over time you build that connection, like you said.
Exactly. So in going through that journey from that time that you were, really welcomed into this little quaint studio, what were some of the obstacles perhaps that you might have encountered on the mat as you continue to explore this?
Oh my gosh, so many. So, I mean, first of all, ego, absolutely, right? I mean, there's a point in time for sure where as I was practicing, it was like a competition, not only with myself, but everybody in the room. I remember I actually had to purposefully set my mat at the back of the room because I would just be staring at myself in the mirror, trying to see, like, do I look okay in this? What does this look like? And I realized that I needed to get out of my head because my head kind of was taking over. So that was one for sure. Another one that I had was, honestly, I really struggled to find a studio that I liked once I moved to Toronto. So I found it really challenging to find a place that I felt that same sense of community that I had felt at that first studio. And that studio was way too far for me to continue going there. Otherwise, I would have just gone there. And so that was a real struggle because I found it was really hard to find, just a studio that I felt, I don't know what the right word is, but I just couldn't find what I was looking for. And honestly, I don't know if I will ever find what I'm looking for in a studio. I still haven't found it. But yeah, just that community vibe. Also, like, injuries. So you guys can see I've got this brace on my wrist. Yeah. So I don't know what I did. I did something to my wrist. So I can't put any pressure on my wrists at the moment. I've lost a bit of strength in it. I think now, so I'll go back to ego on this one is, before I probably would have just practiced through it. I would have been like, no, it's fine. I'll push myself. I don't know my limits. Whereas I'm finding now I kind of have a better, awareness, I guess, of when my ego is stepping in and when my body's stepping in. So it's that balance of trying to make sure you're not pushing it too far, that, on one hand, you don't want to have excuses for not doing something because, like I'm practicing handstands and I should be practicing them every day, but also recognizing that, hey, if I practice handstands with this, I probably could maybe never be able to do a handstand again if I'm not careful. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really is. It's balance, right? And that was one of the things this week we were practicing balance in some of the live practices. And we think of balance often as standing balance or arm balance, but balance on the mat encompasses it all. It's about, listening to your body as you allow your practice to unfold. It's balance in the types of stretches. Sometimes people may not, till you start teaching, I'm sure you can relate to this, you may not necessarily be aware that as a teacher, there's a balance to the development of the class. You can't just come into a class and start teaching only forward folds. You're going to have participants in it getting injured because there's a balance in your practice.
100%.
So it really is important to recognize that, such as you have, with this injury, is that you've got to balance it out. And sometimes that means you got to take a few steps back and maybe focus elsewhere. And that's the beauty, I think, of yoga, is that there are so many different routes that you can go. So while you're nursing that injury, you can go over here and work on something else that perhaps needed your attention. And, maybe that's just a way of the universe saying, hey, you need to focus over there.
Totally. Honestly, it's really funny you say that because I was actually going through this in my head the other day is, I'm like, I'm so upset because I love, for those that know me, you guys know I like inverting. I love being on my hands and doing all that stuff. But it's funny because it's really pushed me now. I've started really getting into restorative yoga as well. And so it's pushing me more to do that. And I think that there's some, some truth to that I need to slow down as well. And it is forcing me to slow down and it forces me to breathe more and, connect to that. And so I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is so awesome that through this lovely practice, we're able to have that opportunity to do that.
Totally
I just
agree.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I'm just checking in. We've got a few people here that have, you guys are having a lovely chat amongst each other, which is great. I love that sense of community, but just wanted to make sure that we recognize everyone here. We've got Kathy D, who's just come on the scene. Welcome, Kathy. And we've got Derek's Journey, who has been a supporter of both Jen and I's channels, which is so wonderful. It's so great to have you guys coming back time and time again. Pat Don't Talk Lexi has been amazing this past while with the 31 Days of Zen, making an appearance, coming in, giving some words of encouragement, which mean so much. And it's the same thing with Paul Davies is on, and he has been, and I hope you had a great birthday yesterday, by the way, Paul.
Yeah, happy birthday, Paul.
And he has been also a real great supporter of both of our channels. Shea Butter is here as well. Encouraging Song, Kristen has been here as well from her channel, Quick Fit with Kirsten. And so thank you so much to you guys for being here with us on this Sunday afternoon and listening to our nice chit chat that we're having. I always enjoy having time to chat with Jen, because it's just that connection that you have with yogis. I think really, I have developed such close friendships with so many people that I've met through the yoga community. It's a bond that we have, and I found that of all the people that I've met through yoga, they're just so, their hearts are just so filled with kindness. And it's just, there's no, I don't know, there's no edge, kind of a competitive sort of edge. There's no, it's just a genuine, open heart type of friendship and relationship. So that's been
Great. Lots of love.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's been wonderful. So it's great to have you guys sharing the love today.
Yeah. Thanks everyone who's in the comments too. You know how it goes. Just comment away. It's so good to have it active, and thanks for being here and listening. And yeah.
Absolutely. So, as you continue to work through, some of these obstacles, or rather than obstacles, maybe they're just learning opportunities, really.
For sure.
What would your advice be to people who, might have start to dabble and kind of be exploring? Maybe they've been on the mat for a while, and sometimes they may feel that, they don't really know where to turn next, whether it's to look for a studio, whether it's to deepen their practice. What would the kind of advice that you'd have for people to just, maybe taking it to the next step?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to do it. I think we're really lucky in the fact that we've got so much social media now that can really help you bring community together. So, one thing that, if you're on Instagram, there's so many yoga challenges out there. So if you're not feeling motivated and you need like a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe you're looking for community, or maybe you're just trying to look for inspiration in terms of whether it's a new pose that you're trying to get or just connect deeper to the pose. There's like hundreds of challenges that go on like all the time. Like there's, at any point in time, you can find some challenges and you can even win prizes from it. Now, that's, some people have different thoughts on whether the yoga challenges are good or not. I personally think that if they're done in the right way, they can be very motivating. And, you can really start meeting other yogis, so you can kind of connect with them. And I find that, now that I'm not at a studio, I don't even have the option to be at a studio right now, given that, we're in lockdown and all that kind of stuff. It takes a little bit more, I don't know, you've got to have a little more willpower and a little more discipline, I think, to keep your practice going consistently, because, you don't have that opportunity to necessarily go to the studio or go to an outdoor class or anything like that. But again, technology is in our favor there. So there's so many teachers teaching online classes. There's so much free content on YouTube if that's what you were looking for. And my advice is try lots of different things. So if, let's say, maybe Vinyasa flow is something that you're typically trying and doing and practicing, maybe try a restorative practice, or maybe try Kundalini yoga, or maybe try, Iyengar yoga, because each of them has a different focus or focal area that they care about. And so it can be really interesting that, if you were to take, let's say, a triangle pose, like Trikonasana, and you want to get a little deeper in it, if you went and did an Iyengar class, I bet they're going to teach it slightly different because they care about specific alignments than what you might see in some of the Vinyasa flow classes. So I think there's just so many different aspects and so much learning that, like, I don't think you can ever stop your learning journey in yoga, because it's so multifaceted. And even across countries, right? So like you can, if maybe you're bored of sort of the Western style, maybe you check out and see what they're doing in the Eastern world, see if you can find some teachers around there, especially given that, technology is our forefront right now. And I think the other thing that I wanted to mention, I didn't mention this in the obstacles, but I meant to, was that sometimes I also think we can get, I think society's done a very bad job at telling us that we're not enough. And so a lot of times, I think when it comes to yoga, especially, we think that yogis are supposed to look or feel or be a certain way. And they just are not. Like, everybody's a yogi. If you've done a yoga class, then in my opinion, you're a yogi. And so just, we need to find ways to just support each other, be a community, and just, try to find more ways to help each other.
Absolutely. And I think, for sure, in the right community, that will be difficult to find at all. So, there's so many different routes that one can take. And I think, for myself, I've always been the type of individual that gets bored easily. I think that's probably why my life is so full and busy. It's because there's no opportunity for me to get bored.
Yeah.
But that was part of what I fell in love with in yoga, was that you never truly arrive. There's always more. And there's not so many things in life where, you might feel that way, that, there's another challenge. You can go deeper. You can just continue to evolve within that practice. So I found that, that just hooked me, line, hook, and sinker, the whole bit. I was in, and I have not been disappointed in that journey at all, because I just continue to grow. And that growth, like you mentioned before, sometimes it's, I started out very much in the power practice, and that was really what yoga was to me. But then as I learned more and evolved, and I just found that, there's so much more. That's one facet of it, but you can just keep going from there.
I feel like that's what happens. So it's like you get hooked because of the fitness aspect of it, or because it's challenging. And then you're kind of like, whoa, like, I actually find sometimes it's the restorative practices or some of the more quieter practices that I actually gain more from.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that's, I've been teaching a lot of Yang Yin lately, and that's, like, for me, that's perfect, because you've got the two sides of it. But it's a yin, the quiet stillness and depth of a yin practice has just been tremendous, and the benefits are just amazing. So from there, whatever inspired you to go on YouTube?
Yeah, this is the age-old question. Honestly, it probably comes down to Dave. So Dave's my partner, for anyone that doesn't know. So he helps me with my YouTube channel. He does all the editing and all that. And so last January it was actually his dream. He wanted to be on YouTube. And so he actually did start a YouTube channel. I'm not going to say what it is, because he'll be way too embarrassed, because I think he's got one video on there. And anyway, he did it and he just found it too hard to sort of maintain on his own. So then we kind of got into lockdown, the world kind of changed, and it was always my lifelong dream, honestly, to be a yoga teacher. I love the practice so much. It did so much for me in my life, and I wanted to find a way to be able to give back. And especially during a hard time, I really wanted to find a way to sort of like motivate people. And so I started teaching for my work, just to have a, to give people an option to be able to have yoga. I was also teaching HIIT classes and stuff like that. And so then, I don't know, then because Dave had it in his head about YouTube, I said, we were kind of toying with the idea. And I'll be honest, I was so nervous to start my YouTube channel because, being on camera was like kind of daunting for me. I'm not really the kind of person that likes being the center of attention. So it took a lot to get used to, especially if anyone's seen my first few videos. But yeah, that was kind of it. Is I really wanted to find a way to, motivate and inspire others. And I'll be honest, I found that I ended up inspiring and motivating myself. So
it's a win-win.
Exactly.
For sure. And you really have inspired so many people. So that's amazing. And it's like there's a reason for everything, right? And it's just unbelievable through the hard times that so many have been through in the last 14 months. Just how many people have just reinvented themselves, have found new purposes. So many people have found success at a time when you would least expect. So, there's good and bad to all situations.
No, I think it's pretty interesting because, Sue, so you and I think started our YouTube channels around the same time. So I think we're all at the year mark, and it's like amazing too to see how many other YouTubers started within that time frame. And, just even building community through that has been amazing. Like everybody who's on the chat here, like Derek, Shay, you guys all have YouTube channels too, Kirsten. And it's just so cool to be able to see, I don't know, just how we can all kind of inspire each other while still maintaining our own YouTube channels and being able to still, I don't know, it's just something, I don't know how to explain it, but just something about it is so magical. It's just, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny how, some of the people that I've actually encountered on YouTube are in my very own town.
Yeah. Well, Shay's in Ottawa, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a Yo in Virginia. It's really quite lovely that, at some point when we are set free, we could actually connect in person, which would be really amazing as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I can't wait for that. We always say we're gonna have like a, what do you call it? Like a YouTube get together for all us YouTubers.
We should have a YouTube, small YouTuber convention or something, where we all get somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, for the fitness community, that would be really great.
That would be really great.
Yeah. So as far as, the why that got you to begin, has that changed as you've been on YouTube now for a year? Would you say you've shifted your focus?
My life, so like from where my channel started to where it is now?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes and no, actually. So, when we started, it was very much, we were doing a lot of live streams. We were doing them weekly, I think. We were posting a lot. Like, I think we were posting like 3 times a week. And for a time that was excellent. And it was really fun too, actually, because while we were sort of building the channel, Dave was also building, his skills. So like both of us, I think this is, and I'm sure any YouTuber can kind of relate to this. It's just, when you get on YouTube, it's not like you just get on and you know exactly what you're doing. Like, I still don't know what I'm doing, like you're still kind of figuring it out. And, you're learning all these new skills because, I like, my background is in finance. Like, I was never a fitness, it's a passion of mine, but it wasn't something that, I did for, for something like this. And then Dave like Dave's a sheet metal mechanic, you know, he was never a photographer and a videographer. And so like we had to learn a lot of skills, just trying to even build the channel, which was incredible. So it was so much fun for us to do that together. And I would say since then, so like our channel's definitely changed a bit. I mean, I would say that the heart of it's still the same in terms of, you know, just trying to build community, trying to help people. Like I want people to have fun with fitness again. I really want to take down a lot of the stigmas around fitness and around yoga, and just that, you know, all this stuff is for everybody. It's not just for some people. And it's, you know, you don't have to look a certain way or be a certain kind of person to enjoy doing those things. And so for me, that is really the heart and soul of what Move with Jenn is how do we get people to just have fun with their journeys again, and learn and enjoy. And so that's still at the heart of it. Where we've kind of shifted though is, you know, it was very yoga and sort of HIIT focused when I started. And since we've kind of branched out and added more content, and we also decreased the amount of content we put out now. So where we were doing, I think we were doing 2 videos a week and a live stream. We now, since I became a yoga teacher this year, I now do classes offline. So like off of my YouTube channel. And so that's, you know, for me, that's how I help to build the community a little bit more, because I felt like that was sort of, I was missing that a little bit on YouTube. But so we're not doing the live streams anymore, at least with the yoga classes, but I am doing shorter sort of, you know, more like 10 to let's say 30 minutes sort of like yoga or fitness videos. And then I do my monthly now. I'm doing live streams where I get to connect with some other amazing YouTubers. And Sue, you've obviously been on a ton of mine for that. And I do some activewear reviews, because you know what? I've spent so much money on activewear that we figured might as well turn it into some content too. So I don't know. We're kind of a little bit everywhere. It's, you know, it's, yeah. So we're kind of a little bit everywhere, but it's also been pretty amazing just to see how the channel's evolved and what people like and all of that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you really do have to kind of try things out, right? To try to crack that formula.
Totally.
The right one, that's going to connect with people and that you enjoy at the same time.
Totally. Well, I think too, if you think of a channel, you know, I think at first, depending on how you go into it, you either go into it and kind of explore, or you get really focused on your niche and then you kind of change around a little bit. And I don't know, I feel like your channel is like sort of like a what do you call it? Like it's an extension of who you are as a person, right? So the more authentic be in your channel and kind of explore and have fun with it, like it also keeps it interesting for you as the content creator, to make sure that you're kind of still having fun with everything you're doing. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so based, you know, on the experience that you've had so far, why do you think, I mean, we've seen a lot of people come, a lot of people go. Why do you think people give up?
It's hard. That's why. It's like, it's so like, I mean, I'm sure every YouTuber can attest to this, but I mean, you know, I think in the beginning, it's, you know, it's easy to stay motivated because it's new, you're building new skills, and, you know, it's just, you have that sort of like that newness about it that keeps it really exciting.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know, once you've sort of passed the 6 to, like, I would say probably around the 6-month mark is when, you know, it starts feeling like work a little bit, because, you know, you're trying to, and honestly, I also think it's because people feel like they're constantly failing, because the more you grow, you know, I mean, I can attest to this because, man, I love YouTubers. Like, there is no community better than the YouTube community. Like, I'll say that time and time again, you know, like I just find that people are just so authentic and genuine, and everyone's so hardworking. And so you want to support other YouTubers. But the problem is like, as you get more comments, as you know, you grow, more people are coming to your channel, it's like impossible to keep up with it. And especially if you've got other channels that you're managing too, like Instagram or TikTok. And then, you know, if you've got, you know, other stuff going on outside of work, like family stuff or your day job or things like that, it just gets really busy. And so I think it's, I think people either burn out, so they just, they went like they focused on it being a sprint, not a marathon. And so they didn't adjust their YouTube schedule or adjust it for kind of their life. Or, you know, it just, I forgot what I was going to say, but kind of like around that, it's just they either burn out or it's just too much. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I mean, like you said as well, like the reskilling that's taking place with both you and Dave, you know, and I would imagine not everybody has a Dave.
Most people don't have a Dave. I'm so lucky that he does all that. And, you know, I know, and Alicia helps you with that too. So I know that.
Absolutely. Well, it's not my channel, it's our channel, because as much as I do in front of the camera, she's doing behind the camera. And, you know, we've got Kathy, who was on here a little while ago, who is also a worker behind the scenes, you know, and helping to have everything come together. So yeah, that's 3 of us that are.
That's amazing. And I'll just say that anyone who's doing a channel on your own, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, I have so much respect for you, because to stay motivated, to keep consistent, to learn all those skills and to do it alone, like you're amazing. Because
Absolutely.
Because like if I didn't have Dave like kicking my butt sometimes to make sure we're filming, or vice versa, like we would probably be just like some of the others that we've seen where you just drop off because it just gets really hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. It really is. You know, and it's motivating because there's sometimes, you know, like our growth has been very, well, I mean, how do you compare growth? You really can't, right? Because there's so many different factors. But there are times when, you know, I might be a little bit down and Alicia's like, you know, she's got a plan and we're going to town. And then other times it's complete reverse where, you know, she's the one that's down and it's like, why am I doing this? And, you know, and I've got my focus on and like we're going full steam ahead. So yeah, it really is so wonderful to have that support and to be doing it together.
Yeah. And you know what, you just touched on the other thing that I didn't mention is that, like, you know, when your content's not doing as good as you hope it's doing, you know, maybe that means it's not growing as fast as you thought it was going to grow, or maybe you're not getting as much views as you thought you were going to, or maybe your subscriber count is stalled or something like that. Like it can be really tiring because you're like, wow, I'm putting in all this effort and nobody's watching my videos. Like, is this even worth it? You know? So, so Jason Bailey, I see that you're solo on your channel, so like mad respect, amazing. So just, you know, keep up the amazing work, because as Sue said, at least we've got someone that we can kind of say, okay, growth sucks, and then they're saying, yeah, well, let's just keep going, and then you do it. So just, you rock.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you so much, Jason. He has been such encouragement and support. My baby brother is on today too, Richard.
No way.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard.
Thank you so much for your encouragement as well. It is, you know, it all adds up, because seeing those comments, I don't think people realize what an impact they have. Like it really is such a, it just propels you, it lifts you up. You know, it's the pat on the back that you need. And some days, like, you have no idea how much that comment can really have an impact on just boosting you up and encouraging you.
100%. Honestly, those comments, I live by them. Like if it wasn't for some of the amazing comments, even from you, Sue, you know, just everybody in the community, everybody who's here actually, you know, just rooting for you, and, you know, like just getting those comments that your content is having the impact that you wanted, or, you know, that it's actually making a difference, even if it's just for that one person. It just, yeah, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Slow and steady, Kirsten says. And, you know, yeah, that's the way to do it. That's why you have to be enjoying what you're doing as you're doing it, because otherwise, oh my gosh, like
That's just torture. I think also you have to adjust for your schedule. So like, you know, I think I shared that Dave and I have gone down to one video now a week, and like that feels a lot more manageable to us. And I think it's, you know, for anyone who's struggling out there, don't be afraid to, you know, adjust your schedule. So Major said something to me on one of my live streams that really resonated with me was, you know, YouTube is a marathon. It's not like a short-term journey. So if you're here for a couple months, then, you know, then maybe your strategy is different. But if you are trying to, you know, build something, it takes time. And, you know, so the way that he talks about it is, you know, think about it like you're in school. So, you know, first year you're in freshman, then you're in sophomore, and then you're, you know, you keep going through that, and eventually you'll graduate in about 4 years. So it's, you know, I think if you've got that slow and steady sort of mindset and you're doing it for the right reasons and you adjust it so that you're not taking on more than you can, you know, I think it's really important to just check in with yourself, and what you could have handled 6 months ago might be different than what you can handle now. So it's just constantly reevaluating, like, is this strategy actually working for me? And if it's not, how do I adjust it so that, you know, I don't just stop content, and how do I just kind of keep it going? So
exactly. For sure. It really is, you know, you've got to do life changes, and you've got to be willing to change with it. And one of the ways that I like to look at YouTube as well is it's a documentation, you know, of your journey on YouTube. But, you know, as a yoga Pilates teacher, I kind of feel like I'm building a portfolio of, you know, the knowledge that I've acquired over the years, and you know, I've compiled it in this, you know, this holding of really a wealth of information that I can go to. It's a resource that, you know, I can use, other people can use, and I find that there's real value in that because it just is timeless.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah, and it's something you can be proud of too, because you can look back on, you know, like if I look back on, you know, sometimes I find when you're looking day to day, it's really hard to see changes. But when you're looking month on month or, you know, year on year, it's really easy to start seeing those changes too. So you can even see like how far you've come. Like I bet if everybody watched their first video and compared it to whatever their most recent video is, you know, it's different. You know, you probably have more confidence. You probably, hopefully are more authentic, more yourself than you were. Like all these little things happen, and it's a nice, progression or a nice reflection point to be able to say, hey, like this is sort of where I was and where I came from. And I've actually learned a lot, even if, you know, it doesn't feel like that today.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, that's a perfect way of saying it, Jason, is it is a self-documentary. And that's, you know, the way I look at it. It's
I love it.
Great to have that, you know, at your fingertips for now and in the future as well. Something that you can pass on to your descendants down the road.
Yeah, totally. Someone else talked about that. I feel like I'm trying to think of who it was. I think it was Adam. I can't remember his last name, but Adam P. I think he talked about that as like, you know, eventually your videos can go to your grandchildren or your children, and it's like kind of cool because they'll always have that. So it's, you know, you're kind of creating that point in history. So
yeah, exactly. It's amazing. So as far as you know, as without giving away any trade secrets, where do you see the road for you ahead?
Yeah, I mean, great question. So, I mean, I'm right now, you know, I'm still building out my yoga training. So I've officially got my YTT 200, and I'm trying to go for my 300 so I can be now a registered yoga teacher 500 level. So hopefully I'll have that by the end of the year. And so for me, it's just how do I manage all of that while studying for all of that, because it's a lot with my my full-time role too. So I'd say in terms of my YouTube channel in the future is, you know, some things that I'm very passionate about is like providing free content. You know, I want content to be affordable for people, and I want people to be able to have access to high quality content. So high quality yoga, fitness, whatever it is that I'm teaching. I want that. So that's something that's never going to stop. So, you know, and I truly, you know, I mean, if I'm thinking really big, it's like, I really do want to change the fitness industry and the yoga industry. I want to change people's perceptions on, you know, again, it's not just like, I think all of these things are for everybody, and we just have to figure out what that looks like or how to make that happen. And, you know, we might need to be a little bit creative, but it's for everybody. And so for me, it's how do we kind of get more health and fitness knowledge so everybody knows it and everybody can use it and everybody can have those things to, I don't know, build what movement means for them in their life, or what healthy means for them in their life, and being able to explore that without feeling like there's boundaries around it. So, you know, that's pretty big. But that's kind of, if I'm thinking about Move with Jenn as a whole, like those are some of the things that I want to tackle over the next however long. You know, we're going to continue to still provide lots of content that's, you know, that's not going to stop anytime soon. And yeah, just kind of keep seeing where we go.
Awesome. And what about Dave? Is his role, is he getting busier with YouTube? Is he?
Yeah, good question. So honestly, Dave's a little burnt out at the moment. So he's been a little quiet over the last couple months, just because, you know, he's just, you know, like everybody else, we're just struggling between technology and the way that our world's changed for us. And just like he's working a lot right now too. So it's just trying to balance that. But with the weather getting nicer, I think he's getting more excited for photos and to maybe do some filming outside again, like we used to, and things like that. But no, I mean, I would say he's a little bit, he's not, so he was super active in Move with Jenn in the beginning, and now I wouldn't say he's not. He still edits all our videos that we see, and he still like is my quality control person and all of those kinds of things. Derek, that's awesome. So thanks so much for sharing that. Like, just seeing comments like that to me is what it's all about. So thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dave's very much still a part of it. It's kind of a balancing act for us of just trying to balance it with everything else that we have going on. You know, he's trying to teach me how to be a bit more technical so that I can do some of these things a little bit more on my own. But honestly, when it comes to quality, Dave is our guy. So at least when it comes to YouTube and things like that, I don't think he'll ever be out of the picture, just because he's just so good at what he does when it comes to that. And he's so passionate about Move with Jenn too. So I think it's just overall just a balancing act.
Yeah. And I imagine as things reopen, it's going to be a whole other story as well, because then all of a sudden we have the outside world to deal with that we've been isolated from in the last 14 months.
Totally. So I think it's going to be really interesting. And, you know, I think, you know, some of the things that I'm thinking about, and I'd encourage everyone to think about, is just how do you balance it, right? So it doesn't have to be nothing ever has to be super definitive. So it's not like, oh, now that this is opening up, now I won't have time for this. It's how do we sort of blend those two worlds together? So.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a great comment, Kirsten, because it is all about balance. We touched on that a little earlier, and yeah, it's balance will take us in different places at different times, and it applies to everything in life, just not just yoga. And that's part of what's so beneficial on the yoga mat, right? Is that these principles that you learn by, you know, whether it's focus, breathing through stressful poses, are totally applicable off the mat, so that you can acquire that balance off the mat as well as on the mat. So it all it just relates so beautifully together. The skills, life skills that you learn on the mat are totally applicable off. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So question for you, Jenn. If you could have any superhero power possible, what would yours be?
Ooh, good question. I would probably want to be able to teleport. I've
Oh,
I've got a lot of family in Switzerland. So I've got my godson who's in Switzerland as well, and one of my best friends actually lives in Israel. So I would love to just be able to be like, oh, I'm gonna go for coffee with Sharon, and just head over there for lunch and then come back, or just just be able to be in those places. And I also have a big travel bug in general, so it would just be nice to not have to pay for those for flights.
that's a great power.
What would yours be?
Good question. I think that mine would really be the opportunity to kind of transform myself.
What would you transform into?
What would I transform into? I would transform in probably some wise Eastern yogi.
That would be cool.
And just add, that much more depth and credibility to my journey.
Imagine, like, where'd Sue go? Oh no, that's Sue now.
Maybe I should kind of incorporate that in one of my videos.
Yeah, you should. You should.
But and how would your teletransportation help you in your yoga or your YouTube journey?
Well, if we could, well, I mean, Dave would have to be able to do this too. Otherwise, our dreams would not kind of work as well. But honestly, one of our dreams was when we started the channel was to be able to film around the world. So, when we first started, as it was beautiful here, we kept trying to find fun places where we could film. And so we thought, how fun would it be if we could, take a trip and then, find beautiful parts around the world to film in for the yoga sessions or the hit sessions or whatever it is. So that would help for sure. We could have these epic backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're hoping to do some traveling by the end of the year and hoping to get some good photos in and video as well. Might even head down your way, Derek. That's what we're kind of thinking by the end of the year. Fingers and toes crossed, that is.
Yep.
For sure. So anything else that you'd like to add, Jen, as far as, some words of wisdom and advice to people that are, just kind of dabbling on the mat, people that are dabbling with YouTube?
Yeah. So dabbling on the mat, I would say, just don't, it's very hard when you're first starting out, you get very specific, I think, about what things should look like or what they should feel like. And, you want to make sure you're doing it properly and all that kind of stuff. And so I guess my advice for any yogis like that would be just, it's not really supposed to look or feel a certain way. It's going to look and feel however it feels for you. And that can be something that's really challenging to understand when you first get on the mat. And so as long as you're not getting injured in whatever you're doing and you're not sort of like torquing your knee or, going in the headstand when, maybe you shouldn't be and you haven't built that strength or something like that. Overall, just, try to just enjoy the journey of it, because it's the journey of sort of learning, like those, it'll come over time. And so as long as you sort of just go in with the mindset of, I'm going to listen to my body. Maybe I don't entirely know what that means right now. Maybe I don't entirely know if this pose is correct. Just don't worry about that, because the journey is about being within. It's not about what it looks like. And then what I would say in YouTube is just start. And if you're struggling to get motivated or you're struggling to figure out what's working, then start reaching out to other YouTubers. So for me, that was a big game changer, was just building the community around me. So, just being able to reach out to people like Sue, we would reach out on Instagram. And if there's anything, something was going on or something I didn't understand something, it's just nice having a core group of people that you can reach out to and talk to about, whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's, people are watching my videos or, SEO because I don't understand that, or, just trying to get general advice or anything like that. It's just having people around you that you can have as a sounding board or work with. It really makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you're right in just starting. As you start, you quickly realize just how much support that there can be out there for you. Just chatting. I know that Yo in Virginia she just started her channel a few months ago, and we've chatted back and forth about some of the mistakes and the things that we learned the hard way. And
Yeah.
started, and she's been able to use some of that to get herself going. And I mean, she's done an amazing job at getting started, really started with a bang. So, but that's just an example of, working in community and really helping each other with the knowledge that we've acquired, because there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to, when it comes to YouTube, but I think being able to really connect with someone and have the chats, like, we've had the opportunity to chat quite a few times, offline as well as through the lives, and it's just been so valuable to have that sense of you're really not alone.
Yes.
There's real people out there, like, you see videos and, you might chat, you may comment back and forth, but to actually connect in a way that, there's a real live person there, and they can be your friend, and we can talk to each other and support each other. And it's really, that adds another layer of depth to the community.
Honestly, I think it also makes it more fun too, right? Because then you see, like, you just see the struggles you're going through. You recognize that, like you said, you realize you're not alone, and I find this with, I think this is great advice for anything in life, not just YouTube and not just yoga. It's, never be afraid to just like reach out to people and ask for help, even if it's not, like, if you don't like the word help, just reach out and make connection or whatever, because it's just, there's something really powerful about us connecting with other humans and recognizing that you're not alone in the process, and recognizing that, so it just, to me, that was absolutely the biggest game changer, is being able to reach out to people and, just seeing that, I wasn't the only one feeling the burn, or I wasn't the only one losing all my subscribers, or I wasn't the only one, I don't know, that, my views went down, or whatever it is, right? Like, it's just nice to know that other people are going through the same thing, the same struggle. And there's so much power in that to help you stay motivated and keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, one of the big benefits of the last 14 months is through technology, rather than feeling like my community, my world has shrunk, it's expanded. And,
Agreed.
it's, like, there's real vitality behind that just, motivates you, I guess gives you a sense of purpose as well, so that you don't feel perhaps the isolation that so many people have been struggling with. So we really have a lot to be thankful for, just to have the means of communicating, whether it's on YouTube or through Zoom or through Instagram, even, as you mentioned earlier, all the challenges that are out there that we can participate in. It's amazing how, you really start to sense a community throughout these various platforms.
Yeah. And I think if you go in thinking about it like that too, I know there's a lot of sort of like negativity around a lot of the platforms as well. And, there's merit to that, absolutely. But I think it's, if you go in with the right attitude, and you go in wanting to build connection, and you go in wanting to find more meaning out of stuff, you will, right? So you just need to sort of, just take that step and try to be positive about it. And, it's I think for me, that was the most, I don't know, surprising, exciting, I don't know, thing about being on YouTube and Instagram and just building all these things, is there's some amazing people here out there. And it's just, like you said, I think that has made everything that's going on in this year so much easier to, process, to whatever, because you still do feel a big sense of community.
Yeah. You don't get up feeling alone.
Yeah.
In the morning, you know you're going to be communicating with people and reaching out, then reaching to you. It really has been a great opportunity, I would say, for sure. So, and having the opportunity to have a chat like this with you and to share our passion. Ah, and there's Jessica joining us. Hello.
Jessica.
Better late than never.
Absolutely.
Glad you made it. So anyway, because we are on this beautiful, sunny, still long weekend, I'm going to look at wrapping things up now so that everyone can get on with their day, their weekend, and just get out there and enjoy some fresh air, some sunshine, and maybe do a little yoga outside or just a little walk, whatever feels that connects with your vibe today. So anyway, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. You guys are great in your feedback, your comments, really helps to reinforce what Jen and I talked about today as far as community. You guys are the community, all of us together. So, you know, the fact that you would come out here on a Sunday afternoon and join in and, you know, stay touch like this for the hour is just amazing and awesome. So it totally is appreciated big time, and look forward to being able to do the same and supporting you as well. So you just get out there, enjoy the day, and I hope that you'll join me as well as I continue on this month with the 31 days of Zen. We're on the last half of the month now, so we're going toward that finish line real quick. So thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue, for having me. Thanks, everyone, too, for joining. It was really awesome to see everyone on here.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Have a great day.
Bye.